Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Temperatures just above freezing, but not by much. And we're tracking rain and snow for the drive home tonight. We'll see if it gets out of here in time for Thanksgiving.
Car chases and stolen vehicles or attempted stolen vehicles from dealerships in Sterling Heights. What's going on and what vehicles are being targeted?
And the light at the end of the tunnel gets just a little bit brighter. The head of the CDC predicts when the first COVID vaccines could be administered. All coming up. We're going to begin, though, with the new fallout tonight involving the votes to certify Michigan's election results.
Today, the Michigan Attorney General announced an investigation into threats made against canvassing board members. And that's not the only problem either. Rod Maloney is following multiple developments in this story, and he joins us live with more. Rod, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Kimberly. You know, we've seen a lot of emotion, a lot of passion here, a lot of nasty words exchanged throughout this controversy. And sadly, this has boiled over into language that can get you into legal trouble. And in fact, at least one of the families we spoke with today is glad to see this investigation. In an exclusive interview last Friday, Wayne County Board of Canvassers Republican Bill Hartman spoke with Local 4 about threats.
It scares me. That's why I'm not at home. I'm in a remote location. I'm worried about threats and violence that might come upon me or my family.
Yesterday, Republican state canvasser Norm Schinkel traded threat notes with Wayne County Board of Canvassers Republican Monica Palmer.
But I know Aaron and I have received quite a few comments, outright threats, nasty emails, telling me my family's at risk. I had one person even suggest, Schinkel, you got to vote yes to certify for the safety of your family.
Palmer claimed her daughter's life was threatened, and Schinkel's threats rippled much farther than he would have ever imagined. The family's temperance floral and greenhouse business wound up inundated with threats, says Trevor Savage, son-in-law to Gary Schinkel, Norm's brother.
You know, people shouldn't be in fear for their livelihood because of their political views, but that's where we are these days.
The company website received poor reviews and claims of racist business practices. Norman Schinkel hasn't worked here since he was a child and has no financial interest in the business.
You know, people are so polarized that they have this sort of scorched earth policy that they're just going to, you know, destroy all their opponents.
Now, Trevor did not know about the investigation until we told him about it. He said he was happy to see that. We did call Norm Schinkel at home to see if he had anything to say. Left a message. He has not gotten back to us. Back to you.
So, Rod, what about Bill Hartman? Do we know where he is now?
Well, I spoke to his attorney, Mark Mandel, today. Mark tells me that he was prepared to stay in hiding if, in fact, the vote, the canvassers' vote, ended up deadlocking, but they did not. So he appears and feels comfortable coming out of hiding, but he's also not necessarily talking much with the Attorney General. I think he just wants to get on with his life.
Sure, yeah, can understand that. Okay, Rod, thanks.
Well, meanwhile, the White House transition is formally moving forward today with President-elect Joe Biden introducing some of the people he's selected for his cabinet. Meantime, President Trump is allowing the process to move forward, though, while still refusing to concede that he lost the election. Let's get to Alice Barr following it from Washington. Alice.
Devin, President-elect Biden stood out front with his cabinet picks today in a physical representation of the concrete steps he can take now that the transition has formally begun. President-elect Joe Biden, for the first time today, standing alongside his picks for high-level cabinet positions on national security and intelligence.
It's a team that reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it.
Biden pointing to the nominees' experience while answering criticism that they could represent a return to the status quo.
We cannot meet these challenges with old thinking.
Biden naming the first Latino to head the Department of Homeland Security and first woman as the Director of National Intelligence, and signaling a commitment to climate change, choosing former Secretary of State John Kerry for a new cabinet position.
Who can make sure climate change is on the agenda in the Situation Room.
The president-elect appealing to Republican senators who will choose whether to confirm his nominees.
Let's begin that work to heal and unite.
It comes as the Trump administration has cleared the way for the presidential transition to formally begin, allowing critical resources and information to flow to the president-elect. President Trump allowing the move, even as he vows to keep fighting in the courts. The president acknowledging none of that in brief remarks today, instead celebrating a new Wall Street record, fueled by promising vaccines and news of the orderly White House transition.
The stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number.
The president making no mention of another sacred number, the more than 250,000 American lives lost to COVID-19 as the virus surges unchecked. Pennsylvania certified its election results today, officially showing that Biden won the state by more than 80,000 votes and dealing yet another blow to President Trump's efforts to overturn Biden's national victory. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice, and elsewhere, a recount is still ongoing in Wisconsin, where nearly 400 uncounted ballots have been discovered. A portion of I-75 remains closed after a crash leaves a car on fire.
It happened this afternoon in the northbound lanes of the freeway at Gratiot. Police say a driver rear-ended a tow truck and crashed. The car then caught on fire. When firefighters arrived, they say the victim was already out. He's in critical condition at the hospital. Well, kind of a little bit of a sloppy mess out there as the sun sets on this Tuesday.
And, snow and rain falling across town. Let's get an update now from Ben.
Yeah, got to take it slow tonight because there's a little bit of everything out there on Storm Tracker 4. The good news is, even as we lose daylight, the warm air is going to counteract that, and we think this is going to transition more to rain, although there are a couple pockets of snow that are showing up in some locations right now. Taking a look at road temperatures, those green areas are the ones that are in the mid to upper 30s. Anywhere in that blue, that's getting close to freezing, and that includes a lot of our west and north zone, 34 out there south of 96. And then you start moving into the western part of the state, and that's where those numbers get below freezing pretty quick. And again, those are road temperatures. Air temperatures mid to upper 30s. Feels like it's even chillier out there, some 20s for wind chills. But notice the numbers are going up tonight, not much, but some. And we'll see how long this rain's going to last, and look forward to Thanksgiving here in just a few minutes. Guys?
Okay, Ben. Detroit City Council today turned down a resolution to offer help to many overtaxed homeowners. Some council members said the plan didn't go far enough.
The Duggan administration's plan would have covered homeowners who were overtaxed by the city between the years 2010 and 2013 by giving discounts on city lot purchases and other incentives. But some council members said the years covered should have been expanded. So council rejected the resolution on a 5-4 vote. No reaction yet from the mayor's office.
Let's get now to today's coronavirus numbers. The state reporting 6,290 new cases over the past 24 hours. 145 more Michiganders have died from the virus. That includes 51 from a review of past vital records. We are learning more tonight about how quickly the first doses of the coronavirus vaccines could be rolled out, with the first shots potentially ready to be given as early as December 12th.
Plans are already underway here in Michigan to be prepared to receive that vaccine. Dr. Frank McGeorge is live with the latest on this timeline. Doc?
Yeah, Kim and Devin. So this morning, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services spent over an hour discussing vaccine preparations with physicians and other key people. Extremely cold freezers are already in place at some local locations, ready to house the shots when they arrive. But first, they have a very big hurdle to clear. Before any COVID-19 vaccines can be rolled out to the public, they have to be granted an emergency use authorization by the FDA. Right now, data from the clinical trials is being studied extensively by FDA scientists who will then present it to the FDA's Vaccine and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee. The committee is set to meet on December 10th to consider Pfizer's vaccine. The FDA has now asked committee members to reserve December 17th and 18th for meetings as well. A source says those meetings are to discuss the vaccine developed by Moderna. Moderna is still waiting for some data, but the company says it could apply for emergency use authorization as early as next week. Dr. Arnold Monto, a world-renowned epidemiologist from the University of Michigan School of Public Health, will lead the Vaccine Advisory Committee. Monto says the committee members take their role very seriously.
It's an intellectual pressure and not a political pressure. There's no pressure on us to make a decision. We are independent. We have no financial interest. And we take seriously our responsibility to represent the American public in a very important decision.
Now, those meetings will be streamed live on YouTube so the public can hear the data as it is being presented. If the Pfizer vaccine is authorized, the head of Operation Warp Speed said today they hope to distribute 6.4 million doses to the states within 24 hours. So in theory, those first vaccinations could begin on December 12th.
Wow. Well, speaking of that, Frank, do we know where the vaccine will go first in our state?
Well, okay, Kim, so those details are actually being finalized. Certainly many of the first Pfizer doses will go to hospitals because frontline healthcare workers are in the first priority group. Yeah. But the state and the CDC have discussed that nursing home residents should also be part of that first group, and I expect we'll hear more about that as plans become more formalized.
Absolutely, and we know you'll stay on top of it. Okay, Dr. McGeorge, we appreciate it.
Quite a milestone today for the stock market. You heard the president mentioning it as the Dow broke through the 30,000 mark. Today's rally comes amid this positive news about a coronavirus vaccine and some easing uncertainty about the presidential transition. At the end of trading, Dow closing up with gains of over 400 points on the day.
Much more to come here on a Tuesday. Let's check in with Paula.
At this very moment, college students are coming home, being picked up and being loved on. But stop. There are things you absolutely have to do to keep you safe and your college kids safe at home. I will tell you a very personal experience as we grapple with navigating this new normal.
Paula. And it's an industry worth billions of dollars, and the Detroit City Council just voted to give it the green light. New tonight, what it is and who they're aiming to give a piece of it. Nick.
There are two specific kinds of vehicles out here in Macomb County that are being targeted. What are they, and what should you do if you own one?